With the Central Powers' summer offensives against the Russians being generally successful, with the Austrians taking out Romania, the Germans engaging the Russians in attritional warfare in Poland, and then the Ottomans engaging the Russians in Sevastopol, and then followed up by another Austrian offensive in Ukraine, this seems to have taken out the wind out of the Russian sails and made them fairly hard pressed. This forced the Entente Cordiale to assist their allies in the Russian state and send Kitchener's army to Karelia to engage the German forces present there. This has relieved some of the pressure on the Western Front, and it was sorely needed. The Germans can now focus their bulk of their attention against the Western Front, and they are hard pressed. The Entente Cordiale has successfully disposed of its troops all along that border to have numerical superiority, and things are very difficult for the Central Powers, especially now as the Italians have joined the fight and have captured Venice, and an Austrian counterattack being not quite as successful as he had hoped. And now we're also faced with the Americans and seeing what they do. Will they enter into the Mediterranean and make landings somewhere along the Mediterranean coast, or will they move northwards and drop off troops in Picardy? It is hard to say at this stage, and they are not sharing that information, and despite our ambassadors in Mexico doing their utmost to try to figure out what the Americans are up to, it has still been unsuccessful. We turn our attention now to the German state as we do our German fourth turn. Welcome all to Operation Schlieffen, an Axis and Allies 1914 game. We are playing as the Germans this time around, and we have some money to spend. We have 41 bucks to spend. Is it 41 bucks? It seems to be 41 bucks, although I feel like there's something missing there. Anyways, we have 41 bucks to spend, and with that we are purchasing 9 infantry, 1 U-boat, as well as 2 artillery, and I think the math works out. If not, I have to double check what I collected in last turn. Those are our purchases. Let's just go on with our non-combat moves and see where we end up. So we can't launch any major offensives against the Lorraine forces there. They're just entirely too strong, and so therefore we have to just shift our forces in a different direction and see what comes up. First of all, from Switzerland, we are sending in 1 infantry to assist our Austrians in Venice, and perhaps that 1 infantry will make the difference. I doubt it. And then we're sending into Belgium. We're sending in 7 infantry from Holland, 1 fighter. We're sending in from the Ruhr 3 infantry, and then we're sending in from Alsace a total of 11 infantry, and also 9 artillery to that position as well. Now we're also sending in from Switzerland 2 fighters to join into that fight. So we have a decent little stack of troops present in that territory. And now we have a non-combat here from Alsace to Switzerland, so that we have at least some token resistance in that territory. As we so bravely marched into it, we should at least have a bit of a resistance, as the French will likely move up from Piedmont into that territory. Now we're going to move some units up, and from the Kiel, we're going to send up 5 infantry and 2 artillery to the Ruhr, and from Berlin to Kiel, 1 infantry. Now these, it's a little bit off camera, but there we have it. These 3 dreadnoughts are going to come around to Sea Zone 10, and we're going to send these 2 transports as well, and they will pick up these 4 infantry and drop them off in Holland. And that is our movements thus far. Now we will also be moving on the eastern front over here. We're going to send from Galicia to Ukraine 1 infantry, and we're going to engage our enemy here in Poland with 1 round of combat. So we have 2 battles going on, fairly straightforward and simple, but let's see what the results are. Let's start off with our battle in Poland. Here we have our units and our dice. Our expected rolls are 10 to the opponent's 6. We have air superiority. Let's roll it and see what the results are. Here is our artillery at 4s. This one's a 3, a 4, a 1, and a bunch. So we have a 7. 7 as our grand total, which is already only 3 away from what we actually need. And then we have our infantry here rolling at 3s. And this makes up for our success before. Here's only 1 hit. So the dice can really play around, play favorites, isn't it? And then lastly, we have 1 strafing error with a 2 being successful. So in total, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're 1 short of where we wanted to be. Our enemy is going to roughly hit 6 times. And I think they hit us more than 6. Let's double check here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they're 1 short as well. So they hit us for 5, and we hit them for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's go ahead and take off our casualties immediately while it's still fresh in our minds. So 9, we're going to take off 3 infantry here, and then that means we can start biting into their artillery. So we have 3, 5, and 1. So that's looking quite tasty here for the for our forces, bringing their total Russian losses to 11 artillery and a huge stack of infantry. So much so, I'm having trouble stacking them all up. Let's move on to our other battle, which is, oh, sorry, I have to take off my own hits as well. So if memory serves, we lost 5 units. So that brings us down to 3 infantry left. And again, that adds to our stack, which again is not an insignificant stack, as the Germans have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting for, at least when it comes to casualties. Moving on to this theater here. Now, I didn't set up all the dice. I'd set up what I thought would be sufficient. So our enemy's going to be rolling 1 at 6, and I'm just going to roll for our artillery for now, and I'm sure we got at least 1 hit here. There's 1 hit. All right. And here's 1 for his infantry, and he succeeded. So he took off 1 of our units as well, which means that this brave French soul goes down fighting. Okay, we captured Belgium from the enemy. And we have to take off 1 of our units. Haha, something like that. Okay. All right, now we turn our attention to the placement of our units, and it's still on camera, so we could probably put this over here in Berlin. And the 2 artillery are going to place, of course, in Berlin as well. And our submarine we're going to place in amongst this fleet here, just for that little extra security in case we need it. It's a bit of a valuable amount of troops, so we definitely want to keep them going. The threats right now is a 2-pronged attack, once by the French, followed up by a British, once by the French, subsequently perhaps the Americans will decide to dive into that too, but of course they'd be hitting the minefields twice, and both times we'd have the superiority of dice rolls, but maybe not. Maybe the situation would change, and it might, I guess the dreadnoughts can't quite reach from that position, so never mind on that one. And now we adjust the income tracker here. So the French dropped down to what I believe is 27, and we sit at 41, collecting what we had in the previous turn, a grand total of 41. Thank you all for watching. Cheers.